And one of the most important things that we need to do right now in our culture is separate out the undeveloped masculine from the mature masculine. See, in the old days, authoritarian fathers were really common. And the authoritarian father brings a lot of masculinity, but for selfish reasons. It doesn't really serve the child. It says, I'm going to sculpt you into the shape that I want you to be or that the society needs you to be. And it doesn't really pay attention to the needs of the child. It doesn't pay attention to the daimon or the inner genius of the child and where he's headed. So it kind of dominates and controls for its own purpose.
So a lot of us raising our kids in the last 20, 30 years, we're raising it in the shadow of this sort of tyrannical, authoritarian parenting. We were like, there's more than this. The child has their own needs. It's time to tune into the child. It's time to develop empathy. It's time to center more of the child in our families. And as men and as women, we became softer. We learned how to negotiate the needs of the child, include them. And you see today's enlightened parenting, attachment parenting, huge improvement.
Yeah, it's a huge improvement over the authoritarian model. It's much more enlightened. It's much kinder. It's much more gentle. We're down on the level. We're playing with them. We're worried about their psychological health and their happiness. It's all a huge upgrade. But there are 4 problems with this new enlightened parenting approach. The first problem is that of safetyism. We're overprotecting children. We're not letting them go out and mix it up with the world, make their own mistakes, learn from their own mistakes, get the bumps and bruises they need to become resilient. Instead, we're coddling them and making sure that they're all nice and safe and tidy in our house. The second problem is that of specialness. We got this idea that we need to pump up self-esteem, that we need to praise our children and make sure they feel good about themselves and put them up on a pedestal as special and separate from everyone else. That's exactly the opposite of actually what kids need. Kids need to feel that they are an embedded part of a whole, that they are part of the family, that they are part of wider rings of community. And when they relax into this sense of belongingness and shared purpose, they rest, they relax. And what comes out of them? Their natural authenticity. And that's not something you need to puff up. So you don't need to build self-esteem. You need to preserve their inherent sense of value. Also, this enlightened form of parenting is authority phobic. They believed that because the authoritarians were on top and dominating and control, that all hierarchies were bad. And so they sought to flatten out the hierarchies and meet children at the same level. It's positive in certain respects, but if you become your child's friend rather than their parent, you can't serve them. You can't hold them in an attachment relationship. You see, attachment is hierarchical. It's where a loving alpha serves the dependent member with protection, with care, with guidance, and the dependent member receives those blessings. If we don't help our children relax into the dependent mode and receive, they can never really truly be nourished. If we let them climb on top and become the alpha in our home, no, do this, don't do that, don't do this, blah, blah, they'll never be fulfilled in life. They can't relax and receive the nourishment that we're here to provide them. And the fourth problem with enlightened parenting is that it's anti-masculine. And our kids need both masculine and feminine forms of nourishment. The feminine says, you're perfect exactly as you are. And the masculine says, that's true. And you have a long way to go. Let me help you. So fathers especially are good at setting boundaries. They're especially good at challenging their sons to rise up to the level that they could rise up to take responsibility for their lives. And when this masculine energy is coursing through our sons, it needs somewhere to go. It needs responsibilities. It needs challenges. Otherwise, it comes out sideways in misbehaviors.
So it's our job now as men to take what is best from the past and what is best from the present, to move beyond good dads into fiercely loving fathers, to tap into what a mature masculine is.
So it's time to bring the mature masculine back into our homes.